passing of director Rob Reiner is an unspeakable tragedy. And as we all mourn this great artist, I'd like to take a moment to reflect not on his death, but on what an accomplished man he was in his 78 years of life. What I admire most about Mr. Reiner is that he had the courage to enter the same artistic space as his father, Carl, a legendary writer, comic, actor, and director in his own right. Imagine growing up with a father who sealed his reputation early as the comic partner of Mel Brooks, with the duo establishing themselves as stars with their comedy skit, The 2,000-Year-Old Man. Carl Reiner then went on to create The Dick Van Dyke Show, one of the great television sitcoms of all time, before he directed the hit films Oh God, The Jerk, The Man with Two Brains, and Summer School. Brooks, essentially a surrogate uncle, went on to become comic royalty by directing the films The Producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, and many more. Instead of shrinking from the daunting idea of living up to that kind of success, Rob Reiner embraced it. He first pursued an acting career and in his very early 20s had guest appearances on the hit TV shows Batman, The Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle USMC, and The Beverly Hillbillies. But landing the role of Mike Stivic in Norman Lear's iconic sitcom All in the Family in 1971 made him a star. The show, which was the most popular in America over its first 5 years, earned him 5 Emmy acting nominations with 2 wins. Reiner was perfect as the liberal counterculture foil to his father-in-law, the conservative and bigoted Archie Bunker. Reiner held his own with Carroll O'Connor's tempestuous Archie, and their arguments about the hot-button cultural issues facing America in the 1970s made for some of the greatest and most important television of all time. Mike and Archie were more alike than either would ever care to admit, beginning with their opinions and their stubborn personalities. Both were convinced that they were always right. Their glaring differences aside, their goals were the same, even if they pursued them from opposite directions. Most importantly, their focus on America and on providing for and supporting Gloria, Mike's wife, and Archie's daughter. I've always maintained that All in the Family is the greatest of all American sitcoms, and the reason, in no small measure, is the chemistry between Reiner and O'Connor, who bring their characters to vibrant and indelible life. Reiner fought for all of the same hot-button causes debated on the show in his private life, and agree or disagree with his political positions, there's no doubting that he was a patriot who loved his country and yearned to make it a better place for everybody. In his art, Reiner had the same perfect comic timing and impeccable instincts as his father, except that Rob arguably became the better filmmaker once he largely left his acting career behind to become a director, beginning with This Is Spinal Tap in 1984. While Reiner did not invent the mockumentary genre, he was largely responsible for the word becoming a part of the American vernacular, and the movie itself has become a cult classic. One of the stars, Christopher Guest, went on to direct some of the genre's outstanding features, including Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman. Most of author Stephen King's best film adaptations are outside the horror supernatural genre, and Reiner, who gave the production company he co-founded the name Castle Rock Entertainment in honor of the popular fictional setting in many of King's stories, is responsible for 2 of them, Stand By Me and Misery. While some may classify the latter as horror, it has no supernatural elements, and it's more taut thriller than horror. Stand By Me followed his second feature, The Sure Thing, and marked his 3rd straight success. Reiner found success, in fact, with his first 7 films before his first dud, North, in 1994. He then rebounded with another big hit, The American President, in 1995. No American filmmaker outside of Steven Spielberg had more success in that 11-year span. Reiner made 5 straight films between 1986 and 1992 that have special places in American cinema and the larger culture, primarily because of Reiner's gift for coaxing terrific acting performances out of very talented people, resulting in memorable, layered characters. Stand By Me is one of the great coming-of-age films, primarily because of an amazing performance from somebody else who left us too soon, River Phoenix. Although the story takes place in the 1950s, with 4 friends learning about life, each other, and themselves as they search for the body of a dead teenager, the themes are timeless and universal, and tears are unavoidable by the film's end. The Princess Bride is a fantasy adventure story with an extremely devoted following. Reiner was able to convince author and screenwriter William Goldman to adapt his own book, and he managed to produce a classic after a decade of false starts on the project. with such titanic directors as Norman Jewison, Robert Redford, and Francois Truffaut unable to get it off the ground. When Harry Met Sally reinvented the romantic comedy and ushered in a seemingly endless parade of copycat films over the next 20 years. The film, written by Nora Ephron, has managed to feel fresh for nearly 40 years, and it is a reference point for the same kind of real-world relationship portrayed by Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan in the movie. And the iconic scene and the delicatessen, with Reiner's mother delivering the line, "I'll have what she's having," among the most famous of the past half-century. Misery earned Kathy Bates an Academy Award for her performance as author James Caan's #1 fan, and Reiner's facility with actors and his feel for pacing allows for real suspense and terror, despite it largely taking place in a single room. It's probably best known for the hobbling scene when Bates' character breaks Caan's ankles with a sledgehammer. Brutal, yes, but King's book and William Goldman's initial screenplay had her chopping off the foot with an axe. Reiner correctly argued that the sledgehammer had the same horrific effect without completely alienating the audience from Bates' psychotic ex-nurse. He was right, of course. Reiner's amazing 5-film run concluded with A Few Good Men, an adaptation of Aaron Sorkin's stage play of the same name that earned Reiner his only Oscar nomination for Best Picture. Again, it is noted more for the performances than for Sorkin's notoriously showy dialogue, and Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Bacon, Kiefer Sutherland, and Jack Nicholson are all very good, with Nicholson earning an Oscar nomination. Nicholson's raging "you can't handle the truth" line from Cruise's equally powerful demand for the truth is a staple of highlight reels, and the movie is considered one of the great cinematic courtroom movies. It is fitting, perhaps, that his directing career ended with a long-awaited sequel this past fall to This Is Spinal Tap. It garnered mixed reviews, but I thought it was solid and a funny follow-up to a classic that had impossible expectations. By being his own man and remaining true to himself, Reiner built a legacy inside of the entertainment field and in the larger culture. He is our beloved meathead, but he was also the creative force behind some of the most memorable films of the past 4 decades, and he was a champion for cultural causes in pursuit of making the world a better place. The world now is a lesser place without him, and he will be forever missed.